What time is it? It's Packard folks at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesat where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokesat. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic, and this is Season 8, Episode 12. And tonight we're doing our Okay, Let's Talk. And tonight's Okay, Let's Talk is Religion Still Necessary? The Good, Bad, and Ugly. So let's get right down to it. Religion has had a very detrimental effect on humanity overall. And I mean, it has had I don't want to say the world was young, but when we were young as a species, we had to figure things out. And religion, when it was created, it did provide community for everybody. But it was also a means of putting control into the hands of a few to control the masses. And in some cases, that was a good thing. But the stuff that came out of it, like slavery, for example, and killing people just because they believed in something different, that was the bad part of it. The ugly now is that the fact that it's still around and people are still killing in the name of their religions, or they're just killing their own children because they believe a thing. Okay, let's talk. Tonight, joining us is Atheist Ranger from the far East Coast.
Hello, everyone.
And joining us from the ill that is Illinois is Matt, Not a Believer, 71.
Hello, everybody.
And making a rare appearance is Connie, Practical Magic 9 from the far West Coast.
The ghost of podcasts past.
She's back.
I'm having deja vu. What's everybody else having?
I think it's cool.
Unfortunately, for some people it is. They're not ready to wake up. They're too hooked into the matrix. There's people who won't change, and honestly, I think religion will have to die with, like some traumatic dinosaur event. Well, it kind of served a purpose, but it's external rules that simplify things for people. And like you were saying too, it's also a system of control, and people find that advantageous. And I have to say that with events that have happened in the secular atheist and skeptical community over the last couple of years, I'm very disappointed because I feel like certain factions of the movement are basically creating a religion. Atheism is just a lack of belief that there is God or gods, and it only informs your social interactions with other people in as much as like religion used to. I think they want it to be atheism plus all these other things. And
I remember the atheist plus movement. That was a dog and pony show that should have died right away.
Yeah, it should have. So I would love to see religion go away, actually, very much so. It's very harmful. It clouds minds.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. Ranger, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, at this point, I think the only religions that are truly harmful are the Abrahamic ones. I mean, the other religions that we know of, at least that I know of, I wouldn't say not dogmatic, but at least they mind their own business and stay in their own lane. And that's personally what I look for in a religion.
Stay in your own lane, damn it.
Yeah. And funny you should say, because I think about 2 hours before a show, I was watching a Matt Dillingham debate about this very topic.
Oh, really?
Yes, and he actually made a good point, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but he said that a lot of people that are giving credit to religion can be done without religion, and that is, the old phrase that churches build communities. Well, not really. People build communities, and people just happen to be a part of that church when that church is really spouting nonsense. Okay, I mean, the stuff that we've given credit to religion is just plain false. Okay, because people have done it, and we don't need any religion to build a community or save someone's life or pretty much do whatever we want.
That's an interesting point, where the people are actually the ones that bring the community together. and it's not the church so much that is the cause of it. I mean, I think it may be a part of it at that point, but I mean, we can do most of those things today. It should have been done then too, at a secular level without the need for the religion to intervene. Matt, what do you think?
Oh, I think religion has to go away. I think it's too detrimental to our society, and it's brainwashing people. And to me, it's just it's evil. You have all these cults that believe in these things and they kill their own people, like like you had said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of the incident in Waco, Texas. Back in the early '90s.
Yeah, the David Koresh cult. Yeah.
And I mean, just not that, but I mean, there are other cults that have done this too. And it's just not the cults, it's just religion in general. You have the Muslim religion, they kill because of religion, because other people aren't their religion.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they're going to kill you because of that. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, one of the Abrahamic religions that will do that is Islam. It says there right in their text that if you don't believe what they believe, that you're supposed to have them killed. And that's actually one of the things that's also in the Bible for the Christian religion as well.
Right. Now it's homosexuality and how it's a sin, and just all this. Religion shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about, being good to others and being respectful. And it's not that.
Yeah. Well, we definitely don't need religion to be respectful to each other. At least we should be.
No, but what I mean is that how religious people perceive other people.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like for instance, the LGBT community. How Christians perceive that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird because I'm a member of the atheist group in Chicago here on Facebook, and the guy that heads this group did a poll. It was actually earlier this week, and they're talking about, do you think we'd ever have a gay president or an atheist president? And I put neither, because number one, Christians don't like atheists. Number two, they despise gay people. It's all about the religion.
Mm-hmm.
They try to knock other people down, and they don't give other people a chance, and that's not right.
No, I agree. Just for a little context of history, I saw this a number of years ago. We actually had a president back in the early 1700s, but he was unmarried at the time, and he had a male companion that would stay there with him at the White House, wherever that was at the time. So we kind of look at him as actually kind of the first gay president. So, but it was not officially he was gay, but that's the way he's looked at. Somebody will probably correct me on who actually it was at that time. I don't remember off the top of my head. But in this day and age, getting a president who is openly gay, that would take some doing, of course. It really shouldn't take some doing to do that. It should be, you go by how good are their policies.
May I just say one quick thing?
Sure.
To what Matt said about cult and religions. As far as I'm concerned, religions are cults. The only difference between them is that a religion is more publicly accepted.
Yeah, and they have better parking.
Exactly.
And coffee shops.
And coffee shops, yes. They kick out people if they don't like you for whatever reason. Anyway, I have a little video. This is from a couple news clips that I put together. I will put links in the bottom part here of the full video. Now, these are news reports. This is just a couple. I probably could have found a lot more, but due to constraint of time, I edited it down just a little bit just to get to the main points of it, so it wasn't like the whole news broadcast. So I'm going to pull that video up here now.
The day after at this South Houston car wash, and owner Gerardo Cortez can't get over what he witnessed. She kept shouting, "Let's go see Jesus. Let's all go see Jesus," Cortez says. Police tell us 31-year-old Anna Esther Segovia set her car on fire with her 3 kids, ages 9, 11, and 13, inside. She wouldn't let them out, Cortez says. Cortez watched as the older daughter tried to flee, but Segovia pulled her hair and forced her back into the car. It was really burning, flames in the air, says Cortez. That's when the older daughter managed to get herself and her sisters out. Witnesses intervened to help the girls, but Segovia dragged her 9-year-old away from the car wash to the bayou, where a Precinct 7 deputy was able to take her into custody.
This is one of the ugly things about religion that I think is a big problem, is that it gets people who are mentally unstable, and it gets ideas in their head that they can do things that they shouldn't be doing. Like this woman, she attempted to kill her children because she wanted to go see Jesus. Let's all go, like it's a road trip or something. The fact is that this kind of idea into people's heads is sickening, that they think that, after you die, you get to go go live with Jesus afterwards for whatever reason. The Christians kind of tried to put a stop to people killing themselves. They probably figured out, hey, people are killing themselves. We can't build a religion on people just dying to go to see Jesus or whatever. So they put in the verses in the book that says, if you kill yourself, you go straight to hell. That's the way it goes anyway. So I think they put that as a stopgap, say, okay, well, if you do this, you're not going to go see Jesus. So you better just die of old age or have someone kill you or something like that. Die in war, then you get to go see Jesus. But the fact is that there's people out there killing their kids, themselves or whatever, because they think that they're going to go see Jesus and they die. That's just sad. A number of years ago, I remember there was a story, I think we even covered it here on the show. This girl, she tried to commit suicide, or she had committed suicide, or I forget which, because her dad had died and she missed her dad, so she wanted to kill herself to be with her dad because he had died. And this is a narrative that we need to stop. Seriously. Religion puts into people's heads that after you die, you get to go and be with your loved ones. For some people, that's comforting, but overall, I think it's sickening.
Just wow. Yeah, and this is why Christianity gets such a bad name. Because you have crazies like this. And of course, you do have, again, as I said earlier, this is why one of the most dangerous religions are the Abrahamic ones. And again, this story is exactly why. You have probably her pastor or someone close to her saying, well, when you die, you just see Jesus. You don't fucking know that. No one knows fucking what happens when we die. Nobody. Okay? I would love to believe in an afterlife. I would love to, but I'm not seeing any evidence for it. Okay? As far as I know, my consciousness, which is uniquely me, will just be snuffed from existence and I'll physically rot in the ground. Yeah, that may not sound very happy, but that's where the evidence points to.
Yeah. There's an old saying, well, it's attributed to Mark Twain, where he says, I was dead before for billions of years, and then I'll be dead for billions of years afterwards. And being dead beforehand didn't inconvenience me at all. How narcissistic is it of you to think that you are so important that you have to live forever after you die because the world is just not going to go on without you? I got news for you, buddy. The world has been going on long before you or I got here, and it's going to continue on long afterwards.
That's true. And what really bothers me is that, when these people end up killing their kids in the name of God or whatever, some of them don't die themselves, just the kids die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And okay, so if you want to go see Jesus, then you're going to kill your kids, but you don't kill yourself. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't believe in all that anyways, but anybody hurting their kids or killing their kids and themselves, but it's the brainwashing from religion.
I read about this the other day, this incident in the gas station, and I was like, oh God, okay, is this some Catholic chick, or is this more likely evangelical where you talk, either way, you talk to God and he's talking to you? I see evangelical because in that line of the church, there's a lot of, I have a personal revelation from God and he's talking, and Jesus is talking to me and told me to do this, and thinking that, yeah, I'm gonna do the right thing by my kids. I'm not going to abandon them. I'm going to take them with me, and he'll forgive me because once saved, always saved. Who knows? I mean, there's so many permutations, and that's the other problem with religion is, especially again, Abrahamic religions, is the treatment of the books that they're studying is that it's inspired and it's holy and God wrote it. And so thereby, this is where we're going to find all wisdom and knowledge. And they're written so esoterically and poorly that you can interpret anything you want to from them. And that kind of power imparted on people who are hurting. And that's where, and you know what? And that's exactly where the church let this woman down. She obviously was very upset about something. And instead of getting her help, she fell through the cracks. I'm not blaming a pastor or a congregation here, but, this religion did not help these people. And maybe it's just because of the internet, but we hear a whole lot of these stories nowadays of parents killing themselves, killing their kids, and and say, oh well, we're all going to be fine, in heaven now. And like, really? Wow.
I remember a number of years ago, there was a lady that she had killed her kids because she was afraid that they were going to become evil or whatever, or she was just trying to save their souls and keep them from growing up so they wouldn't turn out to be evil or whatever, or turn away from God or later on.
Well, as a believer, one of my biggest fears was that my children would grow up and not accept Christ themselves. I wasn't going to go that far, but it was something that weighed really heavily on my mind. So yeah, you're exactly right.
While we are poking at your news, you can poke us at Facebook and Twitter, or poke us with an email at ppapodcast@gmail.com, or leave us a message at 662-709-PPAP. Enjoy the show? Help support us at patreon.com/PackardPokesat, or look awesome by buying something at cafepress.com/PackardPokesat. No money, no problem. You can help us by sharing the show with friends and rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
The Atheists,
The Bible.
and No Wardrobe, the podcast.
Wait a minute. No wardrobe? You mean we're going to be naked while we do this?
Well, seeing how I'm an atheist and I'm reading the Bible, and since clothes are flammable, fire, 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 I thought it might be a good idea to take them all off first.
Naked or not, follow along as we read, analyze, and try to keep you from falling asleep as we go through this boring-ass book.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. Who knows? We may even be on YouTube someday. There's always that one question I ask to certain Christians mainly, where I will say, all right, if God came down, or you heard a voice in your head, said it was God, and said, you need to kill your kids, would you obey? And most of the times they'll say, oh, well, God wouldn't do that. Really? Well, then you better speak to Abraham, because that's what he did with Isaac. You know, he had a vision or something from God, and God told him to kill his kid. So he attempted to kill his kid. So you can't say that God would never do that, because in your own book, he's done it.
At least once.
At least once, yes. And there's been people out there that said that God has spoken to them, said to kill your kids, and they obliged. And so that's exactly what they did. So that's comes to my question is, if you heard that voice in your head, your God said to kill your kids, would you do it? I've talked to a few that said that they would. The ones that have said that they wouldn't, you know, those people are actually prove that they are more moral than their God that they believe in. And that's something they just can't seem to get over, unfortunately.
But Packard, that's the Old Testament, though.
Yeah, that's what they always say. But that's the Old Testament. When they say that that's the Old Testament, that means that your God is imperfect and you had to start a new series, you know. So
no, I mean they just don't want to accept the reality that their own Lord and Savior, and forgive me for not remembering the specific scripture, I normally do, but Jesus himself even said that he did not come to get rid of the old law, but to add to it and to enforce it. So if you really think about it, the only difference between Christianity and the Jewish religion is that Christianity is supposed to have more rules.
Yeah, there's over 613 rules, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but it's been a while since I actually thought about it. But you're right. He said, I came back to enforce the old laws, not to push them aside or whatever. So,
but also, I mean, a lot of these people who do this, they have mental issues as well. When they say, you know, God told me this, they have some kind of mental disability.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, there's an old saying, if I listen to voices in my head and I follow what they say, that means I'm crazy. But if you get other people to believe the voices in my head, then that becomes religion.
Right.
In chat rooms and forums and things, I have seen people who, when they ask that question, if God told you to kill your children, would you do it? And what really scared me more, I think, was people who said, well, I would hope I would have enough faith to follow him. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Those people, you need to get a hold of the police and say, take the children away from them.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's all I was going to say.
Okay. I want to finish with the rest of this video because it's very pertinent to our topic for tonight. Now, this is the other half of this video. Now, this one is a little bit older, but it did happen in this year of 2018. Now, I will let the video play so this way you can get an idea of what's going on here.
This is surveillance video showing a car crashing into a pole in Gwinnett County. Now the driver is facing charges. The two young children who were inside told police their mother crashed on purpose to prove to them God would keep them safe.
They told police their mom's eyes was closed as she drove across this intersection and right into this concrete pole. Now, right across the street over there on another pole, a camera recorded the crash. Police in-car cameras recorded the shocking reason why.
The children told the officers that their mother wanted to prove to them that God was real and God would protect them.
Her eyes was closed and she was saying blah, blah, blah. I love God.
Told them to buckle up, and the next thing you know, she accelerated.
As the children sat in the back of a police car, they told officers what they remembered.
Were you on the wrong side of the road or on the right side of the road?
The wrong side.
You were on the wrong side?
So we would have got hit anyway. He was actually telling us to believe in God so nothing will happen to us, and dying is not a part of your life. Don't never believe that. The only thing that's a part of your life is life.
So yeah, the woman runs through a red light in an intersection. It looks like it was really early in the morning, so traffic was pretty light at that time. And she told her kids, buckle up because, or whatever, God's going to protect us. I'll prove to you God is real, and smashed her car into a pole. In the news report, which I didn't show here, but they said if they had hit the pole a different direction or a different way, they might have actually been killed, or it would have caused much more damage than what actually had happened. They actually gave credit to the car being so well built, which actually protected them. This is kind of thing is not uncommon. There's been a number of incidents over the last several years where people were been driving, and one lady, she took her hands off the wheels and she ended up mangling a man on a motorcycle because she thought God was going to drive her car for her. You can't make this stuff up, because it's not something that it's funny, because it's tragic that people get this idea in their heads that their God is going to protect them in their vehicle so they can just do whatever they want. Let go of the steering wheel, just close your eyes and drive. That doesn't help people. That doesn't help.
Scary that there are people out there on the road that do that kind of stuff, and then innocent people are either hurt or killed or, maimed for life.
Yeah.
And just when you thought talking on your cell phone was the most dangerous thing.
Well, it's dangerous too, but when you've got somebody who is going to put somebody else's life in danger because of God, that's dangerous as well.
And just for the record, I mean, if that woman's statement were to be true, then why the hell did you tell your kids to buckle up then?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
I blame Carrie. I blame Carrie Underwood, but letting Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, that was actually the one that where the lady that hit that motorcyclist. She was listening to that, as I recall. I could be wrong. She had been hearing that song, and that's what inspired her to let Jesus take the wheel.
Okay, I'm going to put a stop to that right here. Ladies and gentlemen, if Jesus did exist, there weren't any fucking cars in his time. So even if he did come back, he probably wouldn't even know how to fucking drive one.
Jesus is not a licensed driver.
Thank you.
I hope that she doesn't get her license back. I would actually, in a case like that, I'm sorry, that person needs mental evaluation, and she needs to be able to prove that she can drive again before she can drive.
Yeah, no, I
laughing,
don't
but I'm not finding it funny, but it's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is that I have to point out, people will say what you said there, Connie, that these people are mentally ill, and they are, and they are, and they do need help. But the problem is here, we're putting a onus of the problem on just mental illness. If it wasn't for the fact that religion was introduced to these people who are mentally ill to begin with, or have some kind of mental issue or some kind of other problem, this might not have happened. I think the greater picture here we need to look at is we need to remove religion and get it away from people who are mentally unstable. And the fact is that even around people who think they are mentally stable, and then they go around into chat rooms or whatnot and push their imaginary sky wizard on people, that just makes it even worse. It's the religion that's causing the problem. It's not just the mental illness, but the religion and the mental illness going hand in hand is part of the problem, I think.
Well, when we say mental illness, it doesn't have to mean that it's something that somebody should be examined for life. It's not like that. But in my opening statement, and I alluded to, things happening within the skeptical movement, I found that really shocking that people were starting to rally around ideas. And it's not so much that people in the skeptical movement themselves are being religious, but are we treating these things like we would a religion? Is religion somehow hardwired into our being as human beings? Like we said, it's also a social construct. It informs us morally, and it's just that it's putting a God in that place. And I guess I've been despairing of late that we could ever truly be rid of religion. Maybe there'd be something else that would come in its place, because as human beings, why are people sucked in? Besides the fact that it's indoctrination. If we got rid of indoctrination of children, would religion go away? Or would we as adults find something else? I'm not sure. I'm just thinking about this, but I think that the problem with religion is that it's a panacea for unanswered questions, and hopes, and just a way of feeling like there's some semblance of control in a world and a life that there really is no control.
That's an excellent point, that people use that religion to say, okay, well, something out there has got to have control because this shit is just going on and I can't figure out what the hell's going on. So something else has got to be in control of what's going on. Now, I do want to comment on something what you said there. Let's just say tomorrow, or whenever you're watching this, whoever, or listening to this, the next day, all memory of all religions and all knowledge of religions and all knowledge of physics and everything is wiped away. Just like that, for whatever reason. In a few hundred years or so, everything that we know today, like how hard drives work, how phones work, things like that, all that stuff would come back. You know why? Because those things are built on facts. Religion, if it were to come back, it would be completely different from what it is today. Just look at our own history of our humanity, of different places on the globe. We have this segment that we talk about different deities, and we covered a deity on the Easter Island. If you're familiar with the Easter Island, they had a deity called Make. Now, these people were isolated from pretty much the rest of the world. They came up with their own deity that had nothing to do with like the Abrahamic gods, and all these different ones. Even in the United States here, we have several religions based on the Abrahamic religions, but they are still all slightly different to some degree. Even in this country right now, we have 35,000 different versions of Christianity alone. So to think that Christianity would be a thing exactly the same way is wishful thinking on their part anyway.
Well, and a lot of that is fracturing and splintering of, religion within religion. It's, they think that you should pray a certain way, or, you shouldn't accept this, or this is okay. Yeah. And it's so hard to fathom why is religion determined sometimes by the environment that people are living in. There was an archaeological dig down in Peru, and they just found one of the biggest, the way they phrased it, I think that it was a single sacrifice. All right. 140 children and 140 baby llamas, young llamas. Evidently, their hearts were ripped out. There was a massive wound in the chest.
Wow.
And they were trying to figure out why did this happen, but they know that there had been a really big drought down there at this time, and they had found the remains of 2 women and 1 man. The children, they said, well, children are a precious commodity, and I thought, well, yeah, maybe, but they said llamas were definitely important, and so this must have been something to try and bring back the brains. And so I'm just looking at that, and I think, yeah, well, what would happen if we, move forward? What would religion look like? And I go, well, how much of it would depend upon the environment, what crisis is going on, because religion is magical thinking, and I know Christians hate to hear that, but it's magical thinking. It's thinking that if I do things the right way and I cross my fingers and I buy a lottery ticket and everything's gonna be fine. I don't mean that to be insulting to people, but that's the reality of it.
No, you're absolutely correct. Just a couple of years ago, Texas was having a major drought, and Rick Perry, who was governor at the time, he said, everybody pray for rain, and the state literally burst into flames. So
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
yeah.
I'm sorry. That wasn't that. I'm sorry.
It's just so funny that what they think what's going to happen there. So, and we had a commenter from Delopsta. Lemmy is God. Okay, if you say so. We do have to get going here, but I want to get final thoughts. Ranger, what are your final thoughts? Is religion in 2018, is it still necessary?
I would say overall no, but unfortunately it does still serve use to weak-willed people, in my opinion. But no, religion is not necessary. Society doesn't need it. And I'm going to quote Bill Maher here. Religion allows people who think they have all the answers to tell people that they have all the answers when they don't.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Matt, what are your final thoughts?
My answer is no. I don't believe religion should have any existence.
Okay.
I think we're better off without it, because all it does is just cause more problems.
I completely agree. Connie, your final thoughts?
Much like Dumbo with the magic feather, society will have to realize that it does everything religion does without gods. It's not necessary, but it's going to take opening people's eyes, or just people dying natural deaths and it going away that way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like the Dumbo analogy. That's actually quite apt for that there, I think. And for myself, I think religion at a time, it served its purpose, but it's time for it to go away. And we need to move to a new phase in our humanity and step away from this magical thinking and move on with our society so we can actually grow as a people, so we can actually have a better life for everybody. There'll be clips next week for the show, so look for those here on YouTube. We'll be back at the end of next month, the end of May, for another Okay Let's Talk. What we're going to talk about then, I do not know. We'll have to wait until we get to that point. This has been Packard Pokes with Okay Let's Talk.
And that's a wrap.